Alright, so the topic is depression. So just a while ago I was talking to a mate, right? And he came with the problem of depression, I feel depressed, I can do nothing, my environment is killing me. And this sparked a conversation and the theme, right? That I've been thinking about on and off for the past few weeks. And as I was talking to my associate, it struck me that in life, that's one thing, that there's always suffering. Like, in some way you have to suffer, and that is just true. You cannot always be happy, or cannot always have it smooth. Oftentimes there have to be a resistance, and how we have the choice to choose our suffering, or the other option is to have our suffering choose us, I guess. But the thing I really want to talk about is that in life, we get the hands that are dealt to us are always, now of course there are extreme cases, but it is always balanced, or for the most part is balanced, in a way that you still can rise above it. So, for example, of course, if you was born in the third world country and didn't migrate to, I don't know, a quote unquote better country economically speaking, right? Well, you have the task you've been given is to, overcome that. Either to, migrate out to somewhere where you can do a better living, or, develop in a way that, is going to enable you to thrive. Now, the thing that I'm talking about is balance of the mind, because this friend of mine is suffering in the mind, right? Like, his situation, the place where I am, where we are actually, is full of opportunities. It's not like we have to survive on a daily basis, hunter-gatherer lifestyle or some shit like that, but life's good. But the mindset is not, And what kind of mindset I'm talking about? You see, depression. I'm talking depression, but anxiety, depression, mental illness that hinders you from being functional. That's how I'm gonna define it. Most often occurs in individuals that have, some brain functioning going on, some brain activity, i.e. they are smart and may notice or hang on details that others may not. And when you're, I don't know, come from a different cloth, I guess, you notice that your preconceived notions, that you may or may not have grown up with, that you can't really choose, the unconscious meanings you assign to things while growing up, that do not align with how things really are. And you see, that happens when that happens if you are looking at the world through emotion. So you can be smart, but still, if you let yourself or do not recognize that you can break out of the filters of emotion. So, for example, you look at somebody else different, of course, when you're angry than when you're, I don't know, calm. You understand what I mean. Now, some people grow up with emotions in this, like through emotional filters, and coming into the world, noticing things later in life, the logical part, reality basically seeps in, and yet an individual who knew nothing but these who knew nothing but who knew nothing but these emotional filters, like who just saw the world through emotional filters, right? Doesn't know that there's the logical part of you, and I would believe that it's also a mindset. So what differentiates a mindset from emotions, like the emotional filters? I don't know, maybe that's a topic for another day, but there's this mindset, is how I like to call it, of the character that is logical, that recognizes responsibility and sees the world for what it is. But in order to see the world with this character in mind, the logical mindset, that's how I'm going to define it. In order for that, you need to give privilege to that logical meaning in your head over your preconceived notions, right? And those preconceived notions are, of course, connected to those emotional filters, which in fact are a habit. So basically, one has to rip themselves up from these habits to really be able to just see through with the logical mindset. This is just how I see the thing, People who from a young age been taught or have been indulging in activities that strengthen the logical mindset, well, they unconsciously is what is all that they know. And those people, if born in the right place, I know some, born privileged, quote unquote, they can achieve, things, really big things. But that does not mean that the ones who, are not guided by someone else, but are guided by life, well, they sure have it harder. But you see, the ones that are guided, well, somebody had to learn that shit along the line. So, see this as a beginning, because if one person learns, not unconsciously but consciously, gets to the notion of looking through the world with a logical mindset, and if their personality is right, they can teach others to do the same, i.e. maybe make children that have it better. So really that privilege, you know, is just the experience of others, you know, that you don't have to uh, that you don't have to do yourself. But at the same time, these people do not know consciously the dangers of emotional filters, and maybe they cannot even deal with them, you know. And then it happens to be the case that they are trying to, I don't know, drown themselves in work or try to fill a void that exists in everybody. I do believe, because life is not pretty, you know. Life by default, you gotta really work to put a smile on your face. Hobson right over there for you. But yeah, you gotta work for it, and in that way it balances out, because the privilege you get is the experience of someone else who had to go through things the hard way, had to learn things the hard way. And you know, if those problems arise in your own life, I mean, if those problems arise in a privileged individual, quote unquote, who had it good, who knows how to navigate seemingly unconsciously knows how to navigate the world, the conscious knowledge is not there. So that's why it's balanced in a way. So yeah. But of course this as my friend, this occurrence, these people are really rare, right? Like, of course they're not that fucking rare, but you know, he said it himself that he's lonely, you know, he has no other like them. But there are people, you know. Oppa, someone was here. There are people like those. You just gotta go out, right? There are fucking people laying and shit, but I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. And yeah, that's it actually. The other things I want to talk about aren't relevant. So yeah, if you are, here are the points, takeaway. If you are depressed and or don't know what to do, you're in fear of doing something, you think that the world is against you, well, one thing I can say to you is, if you're fortunate enough that you don't have to worry about food, shelter, and basic living, you know, what we consider basic human rights, I guess. I have no idea. I don't want to get political. You know, food, water, shelter. You don't have to live like a fucking animal, basically. But you're still binded by some kind of negative mental state. All I have to say for you is, think about why you're standing in your own way. What is the reason? And I ask you, doesn't that sound silly that one can fear their own greatness, you know? Because we really get caught up in it. You fear, oh, that won't work. The feeling of uncertainty that is scary, I admit. And you know, maybe every day is a struggle. However, that's just life, you know. But I say to you, we can choose that struggle that we go through. Not everybody, but we can change our minds, delude ourselves in ways that are useful. So yeah, don't fear your own greatness. And do not worry about things being uncertain. Nothing is guaranteed in this life. Nothing. However, once you recognize what is and what isn't, uncertainty will be your friend. It will be your friend. FD out.